Hey everybody, it's Sam from Wrestling Overtime, bringing you your Raves and Rants review from WWE Raw on May the 4th, 2020 from the PC Center. Tom Phillips and Samoa Joe and Byron Saxton are back again, so I'm hoping that we'll have another good commentating crew. Seems like Samoa Joe gives them the insight and kind of what WWE's thinking or what the wrestler's thinking at that moment, kind of almost gives them some kind of balance or what have you. We start off tonight with MVP's VIP Lounge. I guess I want to know why. Why? Who is he supposed to be? What is MVP? What exactly was he signed to do? Is he going to be the host of the VIP Lounge? Is he going to be a manager? Is he going to be a business advisor? Is he going to make matches? What exactly is he's supposed to be doing? This is like, I guess about the fourth, maybe the fifth installment of the VIP Lounge, and I think every time has ended up in a crazy nightmare fest. And he doesn't even get a question answered. At least I love the Miz's show. I love, Miz coming out and doing things. And with him being a wrestler, he is usually creating or stirring something up. But it seems like the way they write his show, at least he gets 1, 2, maybe 3 questions in, and there's some verbal back and forth. Like I said, I think this is maybe the 4th installment of the VIP Lounge. MVP, I don't know, has he gotten a question answered yet? I mean, really, has he gotten a question answered yet? Write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com. I don't think he has, but maybe tonight will be it. He is having the Money in the Bank women's competitors, because last week he tried with the men and obviously that didn't work. So he has Asuka and Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax all come out, do their introductions, and of course I guess my first question would have been, why did you guys try to have a match last week and you never got around to it? And how was it called? Nia Jax's music played at the end of it, yet she didn't win because it never started. And why did it never start? Why did you two continue laying on the floor and not get up and get in the ring so that the bell could ring? But no, MVP, he doesn't always do what I want him to do. Matter of fact, he never does what I want to do. So, this turns into shenanigans again with Shayna and Asuka, doing their shtick, Asuka dancing and talking in Japanese, and Shayna just being Shayna, and both of them are standing up, kind of looking at each other, and Nia hasn't said a word, and she's sitting on this end table, is what it looks like to me. I don't understand why we can't get enough seats for everybody. But anyway, Nia's sitting on this little end table, and basically Shayna and Asuka decide to kick her off of it. Nia ends up on her back in the ring, kind of floundering around because the way they've got things set up, and eventually rolls out. And guess what? That's the end of the VIP lounge. Why? Why did we even bother with that? It's kind of ridiculous. Anyway, we then get Bobby Lashley warming up with Lana by his side before they head off to commercial. And, they tell us that the gauntlet match is going to be next and that Bobby Lashley is basically first up. And, great. Well, when we come back, I'm confused. Did WWE just mess up? Because I think they did. Because, see, they were previewing next week's Raw, and they said, Becky Lynch is going to be here, and she's going to be confronting the Money in the Bank winner. Oh, really? Really? Is she now? So if she's confronting the Money in the Bank winner, that means the Money in the Bank winner for the women comes from Raw. Because she's not going to be confronting a SmackDown person on Raw unless they get switched to Raw and they're coming after her. Because, see, Money in the Bank rules, the way they've always been, unless they've changed something, have always been when you win the Money in the Bank contract, you go after your brand's champion. You can cash it in at any time against your brand's champion. So by saying Becky Lynch is going to be confronting the Money in the Bank winner, they basically said it's going to be one of the three women we just saw. It's going to be Nia Jax, Asuka, or Shayna. And I think that's very interesting because I've been saying all along that I think that it's going to come down to Shayna versus Shayna versus Asuka. Now, a lot of you wrote in and said, no, Nia has just come back. They're going to push her. I don't know. Especially with that botch she did with Kairi Sane. And them allowing Asuka to bring it up tonight. I'm not 100% that they're going to push Nia. I think Nia is going to play a big part in Money in the Bank on Sunday. Please don't think that I don't think that. I do. However, I think Triple H is wanting Shayna. And they've called her up, or supposedly they've called her up. And they're like, hello, she's almost 40. Let's push her. However, I think with Asuka pulling double duty during this pandemic, there have been a lot of nights Asuka has been not only on Raw, but she's been on SmackDown. She hasn't went home. She has, rented a place down there and has stayed for every taping. She has been showing up and showing extremely great work ethic. I love the new character she's created with the dancing and yelling in Japanese, but still being kind of a heel. And I hated that they took the green mist away. I know you guys are getting tired of me griping about that in every episode, but I am. I like the green mist. I hate that they feel like people can't separate that from COVID, but I've liked what Asuka has done, and I think Vince has too. He usually rewards loyalty. So I can see him saying, let's push Asuka. That kind of has been the nemesis of Becky Lynch. And I do think I want to see them in a long program leading up to SummerSlam where, Becky has had the belt quite a while. Love Becky. But maybe it's time to give her a break from the burden, the WWE champion is, especially when COVID, they get a handle on this. Her and Seth are wanting to get married and go on a honeymoon. So I look for her to be able to give up the belt soon. And I think Asuka almost deserves it as far as how much she's worked and how hard she's worked and what she's went through. So then we get the gauntlet match. I am a little in favor of the gauntlet matches. I feel like sometimes WWE goes to that well too much. But I'll be honest with you, I was kind of looking forward to this one because they didn't name the names. And they didn't tell us how many people were going to be there. So I liked that part, and I think if WWE is going to use a gauntlet match, I definitely think that's how they need to do it. They need to not tell us how many people are involved, and they need to tell us, or not tell us who's involved. Because it kept me interested in, Bobby Lashley, here he comes, who's he gonna face? And I can't help it. I'm marked out when it's Titus O'Neil. I guess catering has slowed down a little bit since COVID has hit and they don't have as many wrestlers. And so Titus, catering has kind of gotten a break. So looks like he's been working out instead of being in catering quite so much. And I was looking forward to Titus O'Neil, especially since he's a Gator. Well, yeah, my hopes were dashed very quickly because Titus O'Neil was not even in there, 30 seconds? Did he make it 30 seconds? Before Bobby Lashley just utterly destroys him and eliminates him. Titus is not even made it halfway up the ramp and boom, they're announcing the next gauntlet match. And that's what I liked. We didn't know who it was going to be. It's Akira Tozawa. And like I said, he's been kind of getting a run until he was fed to the wolves there, 2 weeks ago. So I'm like, oh, okay. No. Tozawa enters the ring and boom, Lashley spears him, eliminates him. So then I'm like, oh no. Oh no. Please tell me how much money Bobby Lashley is paying them. Are they really going to let him run through this gauntlet match? Because, seriously, that's what I was thinking. He has destroyed two opponents in less than a minute and a half. And that probably includes their entrances. And I'm like, please do not let him be in Money in the Bank. I don't want to see him. Unless he can have Lana running beside of him and screeching along the way, or being crazy evil heel Lana and annoying people, or pulling some dastardly deed. I don't want to see Bobby Lashley. Now, if they have Lana tied to his back, and she's like kicking people and screeching at him, yeah, I'm all for that. Put Bobby Lashley in Money in the Bank. I'll enjoy that. I'll laugh. But no, I don't want to see this. Well, Shelton Benjamin's music hits, and I'm thinking, oh my God, they are going to do this. They're going to send Bobby Lashley to Money in the Bank because Benjamin enters, and I think here it is, spear. No, Benjamin actually took it to him. It ended up outside the ring, and that's when Lashley finally took control and kind of rolled him back in the ring, and as they get back in, he speared him and eliminated him. And I thought, okay. So then we get Humberto Carrillo. Where's Humberto been? I didn't think that he had left the country. Um, was he really injured? I'm not sure. I probably need to do some research on that because we haven't seen him. So were they doing an angle where he was injured, or was he really injured, or did he actually leave the country and he had to, quarantine, or what exactly happened there? They don't really explain it or anything, and so he comes in, and what do you know? Lashley basically tears him up, which I was kind of excited about. I'm not a Humberto fan, but as he is hurting Humberto, basically he loses control of himself. The referee, tells him quit doing that, starts counting. Bobby Lashley stops, immediately starts again, and the referee's like, "Look, you got to listen to me," and counts again, and Lashley stops. He starts again, and the referee gets to 5. What happened to 3? But he gets to 5, and he's telling Lashley, and Lashley shoves him. And of course, you can't touch or shove a referee. They get a little upset about that. So the referee, disqualifies him. And so then I'm in a quandary. Do I cheer because Lashley is now gone? Or do I cheer that leaves Humberto? Who is the lesser of two evils? I don't know. So I was kind of glad that even after he got disqualified, Lashley continued to beat on Humberto and even speared him. And so here come all the referees. There's like 5 or 6 referees that come out, and I'm thinking, well, what happened to social distancing? And who knew WWE had that many wrestlers when they only have like 5 matches on Raw right now? I was just like, wow. But anyway, they force Lashley out, and who do we get? Angel Garza, the cousin of Humberto. And Garza just comes out and continues again to punish Humberto. And I'm thinking Garza wouldn't be bad in Money in the Bank. They've kind of been building him up. And yeah, that's okay. Now, I was a little shocked that Vega was out there, though. Because remember last week, they had the 6-man tag team, and basically Andrade was asking what happened, and Vega blamed Garza and Theory for Andrade, and then Andrade had to basically punish Apollo Crews. So if I'm Garza in Theory and I, watched the replay of that, or I went to the WWE network and saw it or whatever, somebody told me about it, I think I would have said, Vega, you blamed us, I don't really need you. However, Vega was out there cheering Garza on and supporting him. And like I said, he is basically beating on Humberto, and they're selling the whole storyline that Humberto is injured and how much longer can he last, and so when you start seeing, or hearing I should say, Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips do that, that person's gonna overcome all odds because they go way over the top selling it and telling us how bad he's hurt, and so you kind of know where this is going, and that's exactly where it goes. Garza goes to do a move, Humberto slides down off of him and ends up just rolling him up for the pin real quick. And Garza, of course, acts like, I can't believe this. And Austin Theory's music hits. Well, I'm excited that Austin Theory's music hit, but what does that tell us? And you're thinking, what do you mean? Well, Austin Theory and Angel Garza are both with Vega. They're, I guess, supposedly friends. They had to tell each other they were in the gauntlet match. I'm sure they told each other what number they were. I'm also probably sure that, um, you know, they knew if Garza would have beaten Humberto, that Theory was coming out next, and it was going to be Theory versus Garza. Well, guess what? I would have liked to seen that. I think that could have been a great storyline, WWE. I think you missed one. But we get Austin Theory to come out. And again, Theory takes control and is just beating him down. And I'm excited. I like Austin Theory. I love that he's 22 years old. I feel like, I don't know if any of you watched, WWE has gave Fox and ESPN some of their content, and they have been showing it, especially on, Tuesday nights, and they're showing it some now during the week and everything. But, gosh, I guess it's been 3 or 4 weeks ago, they showed part of the documentary. I think they showed the middle 3 episodes, but it's a 5-episode documentary about ruthless aggression era that started around 2002. And one of those episodes, I don't remember what number it is because it's been a little while since I watched it, but one of those episodes is about Brock Lesnar, and it's entitled The Next Big Thing, and how everybody could see that Brock had just won the NCAA wrestling tournament. He was the next big thing. Well, that reminds me, I feel like that is Austin Theory. He's 22 years old. They can mold him how they want him to be. He is the next big thing. And in that documentary episode, if I'm remembering it correctly, they tell the story of how Brock started out in their minor league, the Ohio Valley Wrestling, where they sent Randy Orton, they sent John Cena, they sent Brock Lesnar. I'm trying to think who else was up there, but they were all up there about the same time. And Brock just kind of said, "I'm better than all these people. I'm tired of this, and let's move this thing along." And he basically told the WWE, if you don't move me up to the main roster, I'm tired of being here in OVW. And so you're either going to move me up to the main roster or I'm going to leave. Austin Theory didn't do that. But think about it. They just signed him. He was just in NXT and made a couple appearances. And then due to injuries, due to COVID, due to circumstances kind of out of his control, boom, he's on main roster. He's in WrestleMania. So I really do. I think he's the next big thing. And so he is, putting it to Humberto. And he basically sets him up for a suplex off the top rope and then goes to pin him. And Humberto does almost the same exact thing and counters him with a roll through and pins Theory. And so I was like, oh, man, I hate that. That was the next step for Austin Theory. If you're not going to let Garza beat Humberto and put Theory versus Garza and create that storyline, then how about the storyline of can the 22-year-old win Money in the Bank? Let's go with that storyline. And no, they want the storyline of Humberto overcoming all odds and, he's injured and blah, 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 blah. Until AJ Styles music hits. Awesome. Unbelievable. If any of you listen to the episode that I did, I believe it was on Sunday. It was Saturday or Sunday. And it is this week. I talked about what's coming this week. Also did an article for Belly Up Sports. You guys can find that on bellyupsports.com. It has a wrestling section that I'm writing for. In that article, I also said AJ Styles needs to be in Money in the Bank. He's coming back. I guarantee it. Well, there it is. I called it. AJ Styles enters the gauntlet match. And absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Because AJ Styles took control of this, and he showed why he was one of the best. You can see he has rested. He is at the top of his game. And it was like he knew Humberto was injured. And I'm going to concentrate on his body parts that are injured, and I'm just going to punish him. And then, of course, he decided, well, it's been long enough, and I'm done playing. So he put the cash crusher on Humberto and won. And I'm thinking, whose music's going to hit next? No, AJ Styles was last. He's going to Money in the Bank. And that leads me, to wonder, does AJ Styles win Money in the Bank? I don't know. You're going to have to wait for our preview and our predictions about that. But love it that they gave him a mic. And AJ reassured everybody, no, I'm not a zombie. I'm not a ghost. This is me. The Phenomenal One is back. And he starts talking, about he didn't lose. Because there's no winning or losing a boneyard match. Yes, he got buried, but he's back. And he's better than ever, and he starts immediately going into heel AJ Styles. He's talking about throwing people off the top of the building, and, people haven't been through what he's been through recently. People haven't seen what he's seen here recently. People have not been buried, and so he is going to win this match just because of him being phenomenal. And I kind of like the idea. I hadn't really thought about it. I assumed, and that was bad of me because it's WWE, that they would have some kind of barrier or fence or something up maybe around the roof. Maybe not. Hopefully, if they decide to throw someone off of the roof, maybe they'll have a net that will catch them. I don't know. Maybe they'll kill off one of their wrestlers to get some ratings. You never know with WWE, but AJ Styles definitely put that thought in everybody's minds. So then we get Seth Rollins interviewing with Charlie in the ring. My first thought is, wow, we're kind of loading this up. This is Raw. We usually don't kind of load up the first hour. But maybe with ratings being so bad and it falling off, maybe they decided, hey, we need to capture them. We'll give them a little bit of a taste of Shayna, Asuka, and Nia, but we're not going to let them stay on there long. We're going to throw that gauntlet match at them, get them excited, and then boom, hit them with Seth Rollins. And I'm like, okay, I can buy that, And I really enjoyed this promo by Seth, as an interview. And yes, I'm doing finger quotes with Charlie. Seth saying, she starts off by asking about, Murphy defeating Drew McIntyre later. And of course, Seth Rollins answers, whatever is meant to be will be. But he immediately kind of gets to the whole concept behind why Seth is taking him on at Money in the Bank. And I can't tell whether the audience is buying it or not. With this type of promo, I do wish we had an audience. I wish we had fans there and you could kind of tell. It's so hard to tell. I don't want to get into the Twitter sphere, and because those are just a small segment of the fans and they aren't really buying, I guess, this version of Seth Rollins. I, however, am. I am enjoying this. I like this character. I like how he has created it. I get the feeling that maybe Vince definitely likes it, and maybe others in creative do. I get the feeling Paul Heyman definitely does. And I do. I like it. I like how he's saying Drew isn't a leader. And that it's not really his destiny to lead the wrestling world. Because, of course, WWE is at the top of the wrestling world. And Raw is its A program. So, therefore, the Raw champion must be the leader of Raw, therefore the leader of WWE, therefore the leader of the wrestling world, and how hard that is, and it's a burden, and how you have to make sacrifices in your life, and how Seth basically believes this is his destiny. But that because Drew is a fighter, that he's not going to give it up easily. That he thinks this is his dream, not his destiny, and how Drew has finally achieved that. And because they're not on the road traveling, Drew doesn't really understand what being the champion is. Main eventing, traveling, doing 200, 300 nights a year as champion, and doing the promotions and the radio interviews and the meet and greets and all of the extras that WWE really requires of their champion. Of course, Drew is not getting the full brunt of that. And it is Seth's destiny to kind of take over this. And he's willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good of wrestling. I'm buying all that. I love that. I love that character. I feel like it's fully formed. I'm enjoying that. So then that comes down to Drew and Seth. Is Drew's character as fully formed? Or are they just portraying him as a big, bad Scottish psychopath? Could Drew cut that promo? I guess is what I ask myself. I don't know. Because I don't think they've gave him that opportunity. They need to develop Drew McIntyre as a much richer, deeper, fuller character. And really get him out of the Braun Strowman, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar category. He needs to become, really character. But then I asked myself, if Drew beats Seth, how can Seth continue with this character he's developed? It's kind of like we talked in the last episode about Braun Strowman being a transitional champion, or are they going to destroy The Fiend as a character? Well, we're kind of in that kind of dilemma. Same thing on Raw. Are they going to make Drew McIntyre the transitional champion? Or are they going to destroy the character that Seth Rollins has built? Because you cannot be the Monday Night Messiah and continue to get beat up and continue to lose. Remember, he just lost in WrestleMania to Kevin Owens. Are you going to hand him another back-to-back loss to Drew McIntyre? As far as I'm concerned, if you do that, you destroy that character, Seth will need to go away and find himself and come up with something new. I don't think that he can be the Monday Night Messiah losing and continuing to chase Drew. However, I do think you can allow Seth to become the champion and have Drew develop his character chasing Seth leading up to SummerSlam, where Drew again wins, hopefully in front of the fans. I don't know whether, the fans will be back by then or not, but hopefully in front of the fans, and then he truly gets his, crowd reaction and his moment that he deserves. I don't know if WWE's thinking that, though. I don't know. So then we see MVP with Brandon Vink and Shane Thorne. And MVP gives them the good old pump it up speech before their match with Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. And I'm thinking, MVP sucks at this. I'm a coach. I know MVP isn't a coach. He's like a manager or valet or a business advisor. I don't really know what he is. But that speech, if that was a pump it up speech, that was bad. That was bad. So not only is he a bad interviewer in the VIP lounge, he's bad at pump it up speeches. Again, why is he here? So then we see a promo for Randy Orton and Edge. They're going to be back on Raw next week. And I'm excited. What are they going to be doing? Are they going to be going after each other? I hope so. I hope Randy Orton is pissed and is like, can't believe I let Edge catch me in that, put me to sleep. Cannot believe that. It's not going to happen again. Really hope that Edge is wanting to punish him some more. We all know that Edge is absolutely teetotally pissed off that people said that match was bad. He can't believe that people said it was too long. And so I can see Edge saying, no, I want another shot at this. I want to give it another try, and I want to make the people happy with me and Randy Orton. We deserve that. So, looking forward to what they have to say next week on Raw. So then we get Ricochet and Cedric Alexander versus Brandon Vink and Shane Thorne. And I'm just going to be real honest with you. I wasn't interested in this match. They came out, and I've been interested in MVP this whole episode, and I'm like, well, where is he? He didn't come out with them. So he's been talking about this and yakking about this. He just gave him a pump it up speech before the commercial. Where's he at? Why is he not out there? What is going on, and what is his relationship with Vink and Thorne, and why is he not out there? And then that kind of leads me to really think about it. On Black Wednesday, when WWE fired a lot of producers and agents, do you know one of the people that they fired or let go or furloughed or laid off, whatever terminology WWE wants to use? Yeah, that would be Kurt Angle. They chose to keep a guy like MVP over Kurt Angle. Are you serious? They chose. Could you see Kurt Angle doing the VIP lounge? Of course, it would be called something different. But, I mean, can you see him doing that segment? It would have been great. Can you see Kurt Angle, the Olympic champion, giving a pump it up speech? It'd have been great. I can't believe they chose MVP over Kurt Angle. That's, in my head, that's what it's came down to. And I can't get it out of my head. That's ridiculous. And then I kind of tuned back into the match, and I'm like, oh my God, they're burying Ricochet. That's been the rumor all along, that Ricochet screwed up. Let's go through it one more time. Ricochet fought Brock Lesnar in Saudi Arabia in February. In February, 3 months ago. And in those 3 months, he has totally fallen, not down a level, but he's fallen off the table. He's not a mid-carder. They stuck him with Cedric Alexander, formed a tag team. I thought with last week, well, okay, maybe he's going to make the best of it. And then they bury them this week to Vink and Thorne. Thorne lost last Wednesday on Monday Night Raw, he lost last Monday on Monday Night Raw. He then was on Wednesday on NXT and lost there. And now this Monday, he's all of a sudden like Superman? They are truly burying Ricochet. And I don't know how long his contract is for, but man, oh man, he needs to get out. And if the rumors are true that Vince is letting anybody go that wants to, man, oh man, Ricochet probably needs to be going to Vince and saying, I want out. I'm tapping. You are killing me. And I'm tapping. I got to go somewhere else. I don't know. So then, like, I just really thought Raw started off strong. But with MVP giving the pump it up speech, they give me this match, and then they give me the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders. I don't care. I hate them both. I think I've told you that numerous times. The Street Profits can talk. Yes, they are very athletic. I just can't get into them. I don't get into the Red Solo Cup. The Viking Raiders are gross. They need to get off my TV. So this match, I don't care about. I know it's a non-title match because everybody wrote about it last week when it was made that it was a non-title match. But the thing that I want you guys to realize, and if you need to go back on WWE.com and watch it, you need to watch the highlights, you need to go on YouTube, whatever, it doesn't matter. They did not announce that this was a non-title match. But if when you're watching this match, you pay attention, referee's not showing the belts, they're not saying that this is for the belts. as the Viking Raiders are taking over and gaining stuff, you don't hear Byron Saxton and Tom Phillips or even Samoa Joe getting excited that they might win the belts. Nothing like that. Commentary is extremely bland and boring, and they let the Viking Raiders win. Yippee yahoo. Who cares? They didn't win the belts. Now they're selling it as the Viking Raiders have the Street Profits number because they did in NXT. Yeah, I don't care. I could care less. This does not make me want to see them fight for the belts. I could care less. All I want is for both of these teams to get off my TV, but before they leave, I need the Street Profits to drop the belts to somebody that I care about. I'm not 100% sure who that needs to be, but they need to drop the belts to somebody I care about, and then both of these teams need to go bye-bye, because I don't care about either one of them. So then this, of course, leads to Drew McIntyre's interview with Charlie. And Charlie starts off with saying, Murphy believes that Seth Rollins will beat Drew McIntyre for the championship, and that Murphy also believes that he can beat him. And I absolutely loved Drew's response. Oh, I must have claymored him harder last week than I thought I did. I think that's a wonderful line. I don't know if Drew thought that up. If he did, he's excellent. If somebody fed him that line, great. I don't care. Excellent line. Starts talking about how Buddy Murphy is a very confused man. A young man that he doesn't even really know his name, and that he's kind of looking for someone to guide him, and he's chosen Seth Rollins, who is bad. And he gives a pretty good promo. I enjoyed it. And that's what leads me to this whole, I think Drew McIntyre just needs to go a little bit deeper into his character, and WWE needs to allow him. Because I think that's what's going to make him a superstar and let him rise, if they'll let him do that. Now, whether they let him do it or not, I don't know. They don't like stars bigger than the company now anymore because they're afraid they're going to leave. But I think eventually they're going to have to. Let Drew McIntyre be Drew McIntyre. He's funny, and, he'll entertain us at least. Well, then we get, Charlie interviewing the Viking Raiders. Yeah, have I said I want them off my TV? They're very excited. I don't know why. They won, yay. They didn't win the belts because they agreed to a non-title match. Who cares? And then they have to say, we're extinguishing the smoke. Which is the Street Profits, the We Want the Smoke tagline. Who cares? Get off my TV. But anyway, love it. Because they bring Aleister Black. They let him cut an Aleister Black promo. He's walking through the dark and the smoke, and he appears, and I love it. I love how he challenges and goes right at AJ Styles. AJ Styles has just joined him as one of the qualifiers for Money in the Bank, and he wants to let AJ know basically that he is going to have to go up and go through him, to get that briefcase, and that Aleister Black really wants it. And so I love how he starts off. How did it feel, AJ, to be buried 6 feet deep? And he starts talking about him being all alone in the darkness. And was he worried about being swallowed up? And then Aleister Black has to turn it and show us that he can be funny, he can be witty, because he says, it didn't make you any more humble, since of course you're talking about throwing me off a building on Sunday. I love it. I love that when he's done with his promo, we see Aleister Black take a couple steps back as it's going around him, and he basically fades to black. It was a great promo. Whoever directed that and that up, man, big props to you. Big props. That was perfect for Aleister Black's character. I love it. It makes me want to choose him to win Money in the Bank. It really does. Because we all know he can take the pain, because God knows WWE has been letting him take some pain here recently. But him having that black mask that he can hit at any time, I love it. Then we get a Rey Mysterio promo that just really confused me. Mysterio kind of almost acts confused, because he admits, I don't know what to expect. I've been in Money in the Bank before, but this one's not in a ring. Really, genius? They've been talking about this every time they can forever. Yeah, we know it's not in the ring. It's at WWE headquarters. But he proceeds to tell us, we're going to start on the ground floor, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, Mysterio, if he was doing that off the cuff, I think someone needs to check him for a concussion. I really, really do, because he seemed confused. If that was part of the script, Mysterio, number one, should have refused to do that or asked for some changes. Surely he is smart enough by now to know that that promo was awful. Two, whoever wrote that script, if it's a script, needs to be fired. It was awful. Cannot even believe that. Then we get Charlotte Flair. She comes out, of course, dressed to the nines in her queen outfit. And she starts talking about facing Io Shirai on NXT on Wednesday. So my first thought is, yeah, but tonight is Monday. Charlotte, did you look at your calendar? Why are you on Raw talking about NXT? And then I'm like, oh yeah. AEW has been killing NXT for months now in ratings, especially in that precious 18 to 34 demographic. And they got close last week to possibly beating them. So, after beating them once. So I was like, oh, Charlotte's trying to get the ratings up. They're kind of giving her the opportunity on Raw to let everybody know, hey, I'm facing Io Shirai, you need to tune in. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Liv Morgan's music hits. And I'm like, what? Because, of course, I've never known Liv Morgan to have a problem with Charlotte. And I'm like, you're out here interrupting the queen? How dare you? But anyway, love it that Charlotte immediately is like, I know you're figuring out who you are and who you need to be and all of that, but you don't need to be figuring out on my time and with me. You don't want to do that. And Liv Morgan is like, no. Part of figuring out who I am is knocking down some backstabbers. Well, of course she means Ruby Riott. And dethroning a self-entitled queen, which is Charlotte. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a good line. And then she starts talking about how entitled Charlotte actually is, how she was given everything, and that she got to grow up in the wrestling world. She got everything basically handed to her. She had a silver spoon in her mouth, and things like that. And Charlotte, like, okay, come down here. Gonna teach you a lesson. If you want a match, let's go. And Charlotte takes it off and goes. And I'm like, props to Charlotte. Props to Charlotte. She's getting in the ring with some of these young wrestlers like Liv Morgan. She's gotten in with Rhea Ripley. She's gotten in with Bianca Belair. She's got a match coming up with Io Shirai, who a lot in the wrestling world think is, excellent. And so I'm pretty excited that Charlotte seems to be back, the old Charlotte. The one that was, 2018, early 2019. I feel like for about 6 months to a year, Charlotte's kind of been coasting. I think after WrestleMania last year, after her not getting to beat Ronda Rousey, that I don't know if that's when she met Andrade or what, but I think her mind has been on other things. And of course she got engaged, and I think she was enjoying that moment. And I don't know when they were planning on having their wedding, or if they're in the process of planning it, or I'm not sure what is going on with those two as far as dates and stuff like that. But I really think COVID has made her refocus. And I'm excited about that. I like that she was willing to take 2 matches in 1 week. To have a match with Liv Morgan and then have a match with Io Shirai later this week. I loved her match with Rhea Ripley for WrestleMania. I thought that she was back then. In this match, I loved Charlotte trash talking. I loved being able to hear her not only punish Liv Morgan with the Boston Crab, but also talk to Liv Morgan while she was doing it, and telling her that she's not good enough yet, and that she just needs to bow down to the queen, and things like that. Liv ended up doing a code breaker. I love that she is doing that. I think that's an excellent move for her. Part of me, though, flinched. She did it really high. And the way Charlotte reacted on landing and then rolling, when she landed, she immediately grabbed her nose. And then she rolled and was covering her face. And like I said, I've kind of flinched, and I thought, you're supposed to hit that code breaker on their chest or right under their chin. And that's what they usually grab. They grab their chin, they grab their jaw, they grab, sometimes people grab like the neck area or whatever like that. So for Charlotte to grab her nose, I was like, ooh, I think Liv might have just botched that. I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything here, right after all, where somebody said that. So I'm not sure whether she did or not, but maybe Charlotte was just selling it in a new way or a different way or something like that. But she immediately rolled, towards the ropes, and like I said, she was kind of covering her face. And that's what made me think, oh, I don't think they hit right. But now, Charlotte being Charlotte and having done this for years and having grown up with this and been in athletics, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Charlotte went to college and was a college athlete at the University of North Carolina, I believe. She played volleyball and ran track, and I mean, unbelievable athlete. So she's dealt with pain before. She got through it. Didn't sell it anymore throughout the match or anything like that, and of course won. So, just kind of wanted to note that in case we hear something here in the next or two of Charlotte maybe needing to take some time off and she has an injury or that, she needs to have her nose fixed or something like that. Then we get Drew McIntyre and Buddy Murphy. Or Murphy. I hate that they just went to his last name. I think he should still be Buddy Murphy. We see him come out and we see him confused. And him be the confused young man that Drew McIntyre explained him to be or called him to be. Buddy Murphy hasn't been playing that character up until tonight. And so I'm like, ooh, what's up with that? He's looking to Seth Rollins for guidance. He's looking for him for approval. We haven't seen that from him. And he's been gone, and I'm just like, don't really get this. Did he all of a sudden start doubting himself or get confused or whatever while he was gone? But we see Seth standing on the ramp, scouting or pondering, looking on where Murphy's trying different moves and how they work and how, he may do them differently or whatever. And we're all just waiting for him to be involved. We know he's going to get involved. And, of course, he does. He gets involved and the show ends with Seth and Drew going after each other. And I'm thinking, yes, that should be kind of how you end the go-home show as far as your two people going for the championship at Money in the Bank should be the last two people we see, but I'm not sure that it was done correctly. And then I think this is the go-home Raw show for the pay-per-view, and like I said, they started off strong. I thought the Gauntlet match was strong. Bringing AJ Styles back was very strong. I thought that Seth Rollins gave a great promo, but I feel like I always feel Raw's middle is horrible. It's garbage. I don't know whether Paul Heyman can't concentrate on 3 hours worth of material that he tries to go at the beginning of the show strong to keep viewers, and then he obviously likes Aleister Black, so those promos and those people that Paul Heyman likes and wants to push are very good. But you can see the ones that he's not working with or the ones that he doesn't really like or that he's not really pushing. It's garbage. And you feel like you're on a roller coaster ride watching Raw. Oh, this is really, really good. I'm excited. Oh, this is garbage. Can I change it? Can I fast forward it? What can I do? I want to make this stop. And so, I don't know. I really feel they need to be using this time to build their characters, to build their shows, COVID has granted them time to figure things out and really build some story, really in depth with some characters to, if this character's not working, let's change it. Let's give him a new gimmick. Let's this tag team division's not working. Let's put some new tag teams together. Let's bring people up. Let's maybe change them around. Let's bring SmackDown people over and move Raw people to NXT and NXT to Raw and SmackDown, and let's shake some stuff up. Let's get on the right path so that when COVID gets us into our new normal, we're ready to go. We're ready to hit the ground and go, and our ratings are just gonna boom, bounce. And I feel like WWE's not doing that. I feel like they're not taking advantage of that. And it to me, it's sad. It's just really, 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 really sad. This Go Home show, I mean, if I had to give it a grade, it's like a B minus, C plus. It's just, the promos like Aleister Black and AJ Styles and Seth Rollins are unreal. The matches, the Gauntlet match was pretty good, but then you have garbage like Cedric Alexander and Ricochet getting beat. What in the world was that? You've got people like MVP on there. You've got the Viking Raiders versus the Street Profits in a non-title match that you don't announce. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous, and it frustrates me. And I'm sorry that I know a lot of you tune into episodes and you want to hear all the great stuff going on, and you want to hear, me marking out about everything, and I just can't do it. But I don't want to rant too much. I do want to see the good. I like WWE. I like wrestling. I want to feel the good, but it's just really, really hard right now with Raw. So, if you guys disagree, if you guys have any questions, comments, problems or protests or disagreements or anything like that, write me at wrestlingovertime@gmail.com or hit me up on Twitter or on my Facebook page at Wrestling Overtime and let me know where you disagree with me. Give me some predictions for Money in the Bank. What do you guys think? What are your predictions? What are you thinking? Who do you want to win? But who do you think's going to win? Because I think those can be two different things. You want such and such to win because you love them. You think they're unbelievably awesome. But you think they're not going to win because Vince hates them and this person's going to win. So just tweet that out on Twitter for me and let me know. Thank you guys for listening, and I will be talking to you soon.